It was the hardest period for us because it felt like the world was against us. And here's the thing, we were against each other.
Decades, the Beckhams have been under the public's gaze, with rumors that have tested their marriage. After years of silence, Victoria Beckham has recently shared her thoughts on a chapter of their lives that she had previously kept private. What she reveals might surprise you. Join us as we take a closer look at the Beckhams' more private past. Who is Victoria Beckham? Victoria Beckham, born Victoria Caroline Adams on April 17, 1974, came into the world in Harlow, a town in Essex, England. She was raised in nearby Gough's Oak, Hertfordshire, in a comfortable upper-middle-class home. Her father, Tony Adams, was an electronics engineer who built a successful business installing and servicing electronic devices. The family lived a very stable and privileged life. Victoria has mentioned in past interviews that her father once drove her to school in a Rolls-Royce, something that embarrassed her at the time. Despite this outward image of security and success, Victoria's childhood wasn't always easy. One of the few places where Victoria felt confident was on stage. From a young age, she showed an interest in performing. She told her parents that she wanted to be like them, to be a performer. Her parents were supportive and enrolled her in dance and drama classes. Before long, she was attending Lane Theatre Arts, a well-known performing arts school in Surrey. It was here that Victoria studied acting, singing, and dancing all at once, sharpening the skills that would later take her around the world. While she was still a student, Victoria got a small taste of what life in the music industry might be like. She joined a short-lived band called Persuasion, a pop group that didn't go far but gave her valuable experience. They performed small gigs and recorded a few songs, but it wasn't meant to last. By the time the mid-1990s arrived, Victoria was ready for something big. She had the training, the ambition, and the desire to finally be seen and heard. What came next would launch her into global fame, bring her into the spotlight, and introduce her to a group of girls who would change not only her life, but also the pop culture landscape forever. And that's right where we're headed, into the wild and exciting world of the Spice Girls. The Spice Girls. Victoria Beckham's life changed forever in 1994 when she answered a simple ad in a British entertainment magazine called The Stage. The ad was looking for girls who were streetwise, ambitious, and able to sing and dance. Victoria was still focused on performing and chasing her dream of being in the music industry. She had trained for years and was determined to find her place. When she showed up for the audition in London, she had no idea that this would be the first step toward becoming part of one of the most famous girl groups in the world. The group that would eventually become the Spice Girls didn't come together all at once. After the auditions, 5 girls were selected: Victoria Adams, Melanie Brown, Melanie Chisholm, Jerry Halliwell, and Emma Bunton. Each member of the group was given a nickname by the press, which quickly stuck and became a part of their brand. Victoria became known as Posh Spice. The name suited her well. She was always polished, put together, and had a more reserved and classy presence compared to the other girls. She often wore sleek black outfits and high heels, and she rarely smiled in photos. In 1996, the Spice Girls released their first single, Wannabe. The song was upbeat, fun, and full of energy. It became a massive hit, reaching #1 in 37 countries. Overnight, the Spice Girls went from being a new group to global superstars. Their message of girl power, confidence, independence, and friendship spoke to millions of young people around the world. They weren't just making music, they were starting a movement. The group quickly became a cultural phenomenon, with fans everywhere copying their looks, quoting their lyrics, and cheering them on. But with fame came pressure. The Spice Girls were followed everywhere by paparazzi and reporters. Many of their public appearances were frequently discussed in the media. Victoria, in particular, was often targeted by the media for her serious expression and quiet nature. People made assumptions about her based on her looks or the way she spoke. Still, she stayed focused and didn't let the criticism stop her. She knew who she was and didn't feel the need to change for anyone. But something happened that would change her life forever. She met David Beckham. Enter David Beckham. Long before he became one half of one of the world's most famous couples, David Beckham was just a boy with a dream and a football at his feet. Born on May 2, 1975 in Leytonstone, East London, David grew up in a working-class family where football was everything. His father was a huge Manchester United fan and passed that love down to David from an early age. It didn't take long for people to see that he had a special talent. Even as a child, he stood out on the pitch for his focus, skill, and incredible ability to kick the ball with precision. David's big break came when he was accepted into the Manchester United Youth Academy, one of the most respected programs in English football. He moved to Manchester as a teenager, leaving his family behind to chase his dream. His dedication paid off. By the time he was just 17 years old, he made his debut for Manchester United's senior team. Soon after, he became a regular player, helping the team win major trophies and championships. His free kicks, long passes, and work ethic made him a fan favorite almost instantly. As David Beckham's career took off in the Premier League, he began to attract attention far beyond the football pitch. With his polished appearance and composed demeanor, he quickly stood out, not just for his talent, but for his image. Known for being polite, professional, and poised under pressure, he became a favorite among brands, a regular in the media, and a fan favorite across age groups. His appeal wasn't limited to England. Beckham was already on his way to becoming a global icon. By the mid-1990s, David Beckham was a household name in the UK, known for both his football skills and his growing popularity in the media. It was during this time, while he was making headlines for his performance on the pitch, that his path was about to cross with someone from a completely different world, yet just as famous. When David met Victoria, things got even more interesting. When Victoria met David, in 1997, two of Britain's brightest stars crossed paths, and from that moment, a modern love story began, one that would capture the world's attention for years to come. At the time, Victoria Adams was already a global pop sensation as Posh Spice of the Spice Girls. David Beckham, on the other hand, was a rising football star. He was gaining attention for his performances with Manchester United, and football fans everywhere were starting to notice his skill, charm, and good looks. Their first meeting took place at a charity football match in London. David had already seen Victoria on TV and in magazines, and he later admitted that he had a bit of a crush on her. He even told his friends that he wanted to meet her someday. That wish came true when Victoria attended the match with her bandmate Mel. After the game, they were introduced. For David, it was love at first sight. Victoria, too, felt an instant connection. She wrote her phone number on a plane ticket and gave it to him. That simple gesture was the beginning of something special. From the start, their relationship was in the spotlight. The media quickly picked up on the story. After all, a pop star dating a footballer was big news. Newspapers and TV shows couldn't get enough of the couple. They were quickly nicknamed Posh and Becks, and that name stuck. Everywhere they went, they were followed by cameras and reporters. Despite all the attention, their relationship grew stronger. They made time for each other, even with their busy schedules. Victoria was traveling the world with the Spice Girls, and David was playing matches almost every week, but they stayed close and supported each other through it all. By 1998, just over a year after they met, they got engaged. David proposed with a beautiful diamond ring, and once again, the news made headlines across the globe. The engagement marked the beginning of the next chapter of their lives, and the media frenzy only grew. Every detail of their relationship became public knowledge, from what they wore to where they went on dates. Magazines published photos of them holding hands, smiling at each other, or attending glamorous events. People couldn't get enough of Posh and Becks. They weren't just celebrities anymore. They had become cultural icons. But the intense interest in their relationship also brought challenges. The paparazzi followed them constantly, and it became hard for them to enjoy private moments without cameras flashing in their faces. Rumors started to swirl, and tabloids often made up stories to sell papers. Through it all, Victoria and David tried to stay grounded. They leaned on each other for support and focused on the things that mattered most to them, each other, and their future together. And trust me, their wedding day was nothing short of iconic. We'll get into that next. The glamorous wedding. On July 4th, 1999, Victoria and David Beckham said "I do" in what many people called the wedding of the century. By then, they were already one of the most talked about couples in the world. Their relationship had captured the attention of fans and the media alike. and their wedding was the perfect chance to show the world just how big, bold, and glamorous their love story really was. And they didn't hold back. The ceremony took place at the stunning Luttrellstown Castle, just outside of Dublin, Ireland. The location itself was like something out of a royal dream, with lush grounds, old stone walls, and a feeling of grand history. But David and Victoria turned it into something entirely their own. It wasn't just a wedding. It was a full-scale event, carefully planned and designed to reflect who they were as a couple. Stylish, confident, and unafraid to stand out. Their outfits were instantly iconic. Victoria wore a strapless ivory gown designed by Vera Wang, complete with a flowing train and a gold crown on her head. David matched her bold style with a white suit, styled just as sharply as fans had come to expect from him. Later in the day, the couple changed into matching purple outfits for the reception, another fashion choice that had everyone talking. A widely remembered detail of the event was the two golden thrones that Victoria and David sat on during the reception. Positioned at the front of the room, the thrones were over the top, dramatic, and completely on brand for the couple. It was clear that this wasn't just a wedding, it was a moment designed to make a statement. From the decor to the designer clothes to the celebrity guest list, everything was carefully chosen to make sure it would be remembered. And it was. The wedding made headlines around the world. Photos of the couple in their matching outfits, their son Brooklyn as their tiny ring bearer, and the luxurious setting filled magazines and newspapers for weeks. The Beckhams had officially gone from being two individuals in the spotlight to becoming a full brand. A power couple in every sense. This wasn't just Victoria and David getting married, it was the birth of Brand Beckham, building a family. After their lavish wedding in 1999, Victoria and David Beckham settled into a new chapter, family life. While they were already two of the most famous people in the world, becoming parents gave them a different kind of purpose. For all their fame, what mattered most to them was raising a close, loving family. Over the years, they welcomed 4 children: Brooklyn, Romeo, Cruz, and Harper, each with their own unique personality and path. Brooklyn Joseph Beckham, their first child, was born in March 1999, just a few months before their wedding. Brooklyn was born into the spotlight, and fans closely followed his journey. As he grew older, Brooklyn explored several creative paths: modeling, photography, and even cooking. Despite being born into fame, he was raised with strong values. His parents always reminded him to work hard, respect others, and stay grounded. Next came Romeo James, born in 2002. With his natural charm and style, Romeo was quickly seen as a mini version of his parents. He took an interest in tennis as a child, and even played competitively for a while. Later, he moved into modeling, appearing in campaigns for big brands. Though he inherited his parents' confidence and camera presence, Romeo has stayed relatively private compared to his older brother. Cruz David, born in 2005, showed an early love for music. He's posted videos singing and playing instruments, and he has a creative spark that his parents fully support. While still young, Cruz has explored modeling too, much like his siblings. Each Beckham child has been allowed to follow their own path, but always with guidance from home. Their youngest, Harper 7, was born in 2011 and is the only daughter. She has often been seen sitting front row at fashion shows with Victoria and shares a clear love for clothes and creativity. Victoria has said many times that Harper brings a soft energy to the family, and David is known to be especially protective of her. Even though Harper is still growing up, she's already made appearances in fashion events and on social media with her family. One of the most admired things about the Beckhams is how they've balanced such public lives with raising children who seem grounded and well-adjusted. Both Victoria and David have spoken about how important it is to give their kids a sense of normalcy. They've always made time for school runs, birthday parties, and family holidays. They work hard to keep home life private and stable, even when cameras are constantly nearby. Their parenting styles reflect who they are. Victoria is known for her structure and focus. She's organized, driven, and always pushing her kids to be their best. She encourages independence and creativity, but she also sets high standards. David, on the other hand, brings warmth and calm. He's hands-on, playful, and known for being a deeply caring father. Whether it's helping with homework or coaching football in the backyard, David is always there. Together, they balance each other out. Victoria brings the discipline and David brings the softness. The Beckham kids have grown up with fame, but they've also grown up with love, attention, and real-life values. Their parents have shown that even in the spotlight, it's possible to build a home that feels real and safe. The affair that rocked Britain. In 2003, David Beckham was at the height of his football career. After years of playing for Manchester United, he made a huge move to Spain to join the legendary club, Real Madrid. It was a big step in his professional life, but it also meant leaving behind his wife, Victoria Beckham, and their two young sons, Brooklyn and Romeo, who stayed in the UK. At the time, Victoria was focusing on raising their children and building her own career, while David was navigating life in a new country, surrounded by intense media attention and a different lifestyle. It was during this time in Madrid that a young woman named Rebecca Luce entered the picture. Rebecca was hired as David's personal assistant. She was 26 years old, confident and fluent in both English and Spanish, which made her a useful part of Beckham's team. As he settled into his new life, in April 2004, the British tabloid News of the World published a shocking story claiming that David Beckham had been having an affair with Rebecca Luce. The headline exploded across newspapers and television screens. Suddenly, one of the most famous couples in the world was in the middle of a cheating scandal. People couldn't stop talking about it. Fans were stunned, and the media coverage quickly turned into a frenzy. Just a month after the story broke, Rebecca Luce decided to speak out. In a televised interview with Sky News, she shared her version of what happened. According to her, the affair began not long after she started working for Beckham in Madrid. She claimed that the chemistry between them was strong and impossible to ignore. She described moments when they would be alone together, saying it felt intense and real. She said they first became intimate in September 2003, after dropping off friends in a car and sharing passionate kisses all the way back to the hotel. Luce explained that she quickly became emotionally attached. She believed David was being honest with her and felt drawn into something she admitted was naughty and wrong, especially because he was a married man. But she also said that she didn't feel in control. According to her, she was falling fast and felt that he had said all the right things to make her believe they were truly connected. One of the most memorable and dramatic parts of her story was what happened at a birthday party for Brazilian footballer Ronaldo Nazário in September 2003. Luce claimed that she was at the party with Beckham and others when she received a phone call from Victoria. Victoria had been trying to reach David, who wasn't answering his phone. Luce said Victoria asked her to go find him and hand him the phone. What happened next, according to Luce, was something she would never forget. She said she went upstairs and saw David's two bodyguards standing outside a bedroom door. When she told them that his wife was on the phone, one of the guards went inside. A few moments later, David came out, and behind him, Luce claimed, she saw a model lying on the bed in the background. She said she felt furious, hurt, and confused, and claimed she handed him the phone saying, "Your wife." According to her, that night marked a turning point. It was the moment she began to realize she may have been used and that the connection she believed was real might have meant something very different to him. As soon as the story became public, it was everywhere. Newspapers ran dramatic headlines day after day. Talk shows, radio stations, and magazines all jumped on the story. People couldn't stop discussing whether the affair was real, what it meant for the Beckham's marriage, and whether the couple would stay together. Silence and denial. When the affair rumors first broke in 2004, David Beckham responded quickly with a flat denial in The Guardian. He firmly rejected the accusations, stating that they were ludicrous, and defended his marriage to Victoria. He emphasized that his family was his priority, and he had no intention of letting the rumors affect the happiness of his wife and children. Despite the media frenzy, Beckham's public stance was unwavering. He portrayed his life as being perfectly fine, no matter what the tabloids claimed. Even with the storm swirling around them, both David and Victoria chose to maintain a unified front. While the media continued to speculate about their relationship, the Beckhams stayed together in public, showing up at events and supporting each other in interviews. This image of a resilient power couple was carefully curated as they worked to protect their family from the relentless tabloid coverage. In 2007, 3 years after the affair allegations emerged. Victoria Beckham opened up about the difficulties she and David had experienced, although she did not directly address the affair. In a joint cover story for W magazine, Victoria opened up about the difficult period, describing it as a really tough time for their family. She admitted that, like any marriage, they had bumps along the road, but emphasized that they had overcome those challenges together. It was a subtle but significant acknowledgement of the struggles they'd endured. While she didn't go into specifics, her words hinted at the pain they had both experienced, offering a glimpse into the emotional toll the scandal had taken on their relationship. Over the years, additional claims involving David Beckham, alongside Rebecca Luce, models Sarah Marbeck and Selena Laurie, also alleged that they had affairs with Beckham in the early 2000s. Beckham consistently denied the allegations, and some were never publicly addressed in detail. He largely maintained his silence on the matter, choosing not to engage further with the media. Victoria breaks her silence. In October 2023, the release of Beckham, the Netflix docuseries, gave fans a rare and intimate look into the lives of one of the most famous couples in the world. For 2 decades, the public had speculated about the truth behind the rumors of David Beckham's alleged affair with Rebecca Luce, but the couple had remained tight-lipped. The docuseries, which spanned 4 parts, marked the moment that fans had waited 20 years for, the chance to hear directly from David and Victoria about what really happened during that difficult period. One of the most emotional moments in the series came when Victoria opened up about the impact of the affair scandal. For the first time, she spoke candidly about how hard it was for her and her family. She said it was the hardest period of her life, admitting that at one point, it felt as though we were against each other. She described the time as the most unhappy I have ever been. Her vulnerability was raw and honest, offering a glimpse into the emotional toll the media storm had on her personal life. She didn't give an outright confession or confirmation of the affair, but her words clearly conveyed the pain she felt during that time. David, too, shared tearful reflections on the impact the scandal had on their marriage. He confessed that even now, he wasn't sure how they made it through such a difficult time. "I don't know how we got through it," he said, his voice filled with emotion. But he was also resolute, stating that they are fighters and that they fought for their relationship and their family. The emotional weight of the series wasn't just about revealing secrets or addressing the affair. It was about the raw vulnerability of both David and Victoria as they acknowledged the pain, the pressure, and the emotional scars they carried. Rebecca Luce speaks up too. When Rebecca Luce first came into the public eye in 2004, she was mostly known as David Beckham's personal assistant and the woman at the center of a media firestorm. At the time, she was just 26 years old. But when her name became tied to Beckham's alleged affair, she wasn't seen for who she was, just for the story she told. Rebecca claimed that she and David had an affair while he was living in Madrid and Victoria was still based in the UK. Her allegations caused a huge scandal, and after the story broke, she spoke out in interviews to share her side. For years after the dust settled, she stayed mostly out of the spotlight. But in 2023 and again in 2025, she returned to speak her truth, this time with a sense of strength and determination that made headlines all over again. In October 2023, following the release of the Netflix docuseries, Beckham Luce gave an interview to the Daily Mail where she expressed frustration at how she was being portrayed. She said David Beckham was painting himself as the victim and making her out to be a liar. "It's all, poor me," she said. "He needs to take responsibility." Luce stood firm in her belief that the stories were true, regardless of how uncomfortable they might be. "Yes, the stories were horrible, but they're true," she told the paper. Her tone wasn't bitter, it was firm, clear, and emotional. She said she wasn't trying to cause more drama, but she wasn't going to stay silent when her truth was being dismissed. Then, in March 2025, Luce sat down for a powerful interview with 60 Minutes Australia. At 50, she looked back at the past 2 decades with more maturity but the same conviction. "I have stuck to the truth. I've never exaggerated. I never lied about a single thing," she said. She explained that going up against someone like Beckham was never easy. "They have all the money in the world for the best PR and the best lawyers, and all I had on my side was the truth." She didn't hesitate to say that she felt massively played by David, and she pointed to a clear double standard in how the scandal was handled. Nothing changed in his life, she said, but it was all Victoria's fault. My fault. All the blame was on us. Luce also opened up about how the scandal affected her mental health. She said she tried to act brave and strong, but the pressure and judgment took a toll. Over the years, she's had to heal and work through the trauma, admitting that some parts of it stayed with her longer than she expected. Still, she's proud of herself for standing up and speaking out, not just back then, but again now. She said she did it to take control of the story and remind people that the truth matters, no matter how much time has passed. With Victoria's recent admission, a long-awaited chapter has finally been revealed, offering a glimpse into the personal battles they faced. Want to stay updated on the latest in celebrity news? Hit that like button, subscribe, and leave a comment below sharing your thoughts.